Staying in touch is just a few clicks away. Get the latest news from a Catholic perspective and so much more. Become a RealCatholicTV.com premium member today.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. As we advance into Holy Week, beginning with Palm Sunday, it's worth noting that all over the United States and many other parts of the world, the sacrifice of the Mass, which brings an official end to Lent, the Mass of the Lord's Supper, the Last Supper, Holy Thursday, will be marred by abuse in thousands and thousands of parishes. Why? Because, in a tip of the hat to political correctness, or wanting to make nice with everyone in the parish, or to go out of the way so as not to offend anyone at all whatsoever, or in some cases owing to a dearth about the dignity of their own office as priests all over the place will wash the feet of women and children during that part of the Mass that most of us have come to recognize each Holy Thursday evening. The Church is absolutely clear, it is unequivocal, clear about this. If the washing takes place, and it's not mandatory, it's optional. If it is chosen, then only men are to have their feet washed, and it may only be done by a priest or bishop, not even a deacon. Additionally, it is only feet that are to be washed, not hands. The liturgically abusive practice of washing the feet of women, and sometimes children, has become so institutionalized and common practice that no one pays any attention to it anymore. Nevertheless, it remains a very grave abuse. Now, no doubt, some will cry about this being mean to women, and just another example of the grumpy old celibate men in Rome who secretly hate women and think of them as second-class citizens. And amid all that clamor, the entire point, the real point, will be missed. The washing of the feet is directly linked to the male-only priesthood. While many of the laity have no idea about this link, many of the modernists do. In fact, the reason they like to distort this part of the Holy Thursday liturgy is to push the cause for women priests. The Mass on Holy Thursday is about the institution of the priesthood, and the washing of the feet, in Latin it's called the mandatum, is intrinsically linked to the priesthood. In the Old Testament, those who get their feet washed are those who come from heaven, specifically the angel that comes to visit Abraham and the angel that visits Lot. In the New Testament, our blessed Lord gets his feet washed as evidence that he comes from heaven. We'd like to share a short section from this publication that's most helpful for you. We'll read it and then tell you how to find it. Quote, "Meanwhile, in the Old Testament, those who were ordained as priests were ritually washed. When Jesus begins to wash the apostles' feet to illustrate that what he was doing was making them like the ministering angels who came down from heaven, Peter finally accepts by saying, 'Wash my hands and my head as well,' that is, 'make me your priest.' Christ replies that the washing of feet is sufficient. He also says that the apostles should do this unto one another. With the command, 'Do this in memory of me,' Christ made them priests. With that command, he completed what was begun with the washing of the feet. He made the priests holy, and like unto ministering angels, they minister the sacraments to us. So when Christ speaks of doing this, washing of feet unto one another, he is telling them that he has established his new priesthood to sanctify the people. When the people are made holy by the sacraments, they too will be like ministering angels unto the world." Now, we highly recommend you go to the website that we've linked on this page and read this full document. It does cost a couple of dollars. You can download a PDF of it for like $2 or $3, but it's extremely well put together and very helpful. It's many pages long. It goes through the whole history of this, papal documents, conference documents. It's a very, very good thing, and it's called Stop Mandatum Abuse. Again, just look for the link on this page. Now, some people will say on parish staffs, for example, well, the U.S. bishops have allowed that practice here in America, so it's okay here. Well, if they do say that, they're wrong. In February of 1987, the USCCB claimed, via the chairman of the Bishops' Committee on the Liturgy at that time, that the washing of feet is merely an act of charity and thus may properly include both men and women. Well, it took a little less than a year for the Vatican to blow that notion right out of the water with the document Paschalis Solemnitatis. Quote, "The washing of the feet of chosen men," emphasis added, "which, according to tradition, is performed on this day, Holy Thursday. This tradition should be maintained and its proper significance explained," end quote. Nothing new has come from the Vatican since this 1988 document, which allowed any variation of any kind whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. This is the final word. Now, it may very well be the case that large numbers of priests have simply been instructed very poorly in all of this. After all, it would be a little naive to think that it was only the Catholic laity that got poorly catechized during the crazy days of the past 40 or 50 years. Many seminaries also did an extremely poor job of transmitting the faith to their priests in training. Whatever the case may be, here is the simple takeaway. The washing of the feet is intimately linked to the priesthood because it was performed by our blessed Lord on those he was about to make priests at the Eucharist. Only men are to have their feet washed, and only by a priest or bishop, and it is only the feet that are to be washed, not the hands or any other body parts. When some other variation is done, it confuses the faithful and is a grave abuse because it tears away from the sacred character of the priesthood instituted by Christ himself on this most holy of nights. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.